In recent years, we've seen a surge of growth in the Chinese ride market. While many of these Chinese companies are legitimate, with some growing to become some of the largest ride suppliers in the world, such as Jinma rides, a few Chinese ride manufacturers have sprang up solely with the intent of scamming unknowing buyers, both inside and outside of China. They offer rides at such outrageously low prices that they can be hard to say no to for many buyers. Yet many of these rides are extremely unsafe. How do they sell rides so cheap? Who do they sell to? And where exactly are these rides coming from? These incredibly cheap rides can be found fairly easily by looking on Chinese wholesale sites such as Alibaba, but they've expanded to selling beyond these platforms. I first became aware of these rides on Facebook. I ended up gaining access to a Facebook group dedicated to the sale of this type of ride. The page hosts hundreds of sellers of these rides, all coming from the same area, Henan province. This area is known in China for being home to scammers and generally poorly made equipment. China has regulations on the production of amusement rides that require factories to obtain a license to produce rides that reach over 2 meters in height or travel at speeds of over 2 meters per second. The licensing process is expensive and requires factories to pass a number of expensive requirements, such as having certified engineers on staff. This has caused only the largest Chinese ride manufacturers, such as Jinma Rides, MCC, and SBL, to actually obtain this certification. These small manufacturers in Henan province get around this regulation by building rides that are exempt from this regulation due to being shorter than 2 meters and slower than 2 meters per second. Some manufacturers even produce rides with 2 operating modes, one that stays lower than 2 meters and is run when the factory or ride is inspected, and one that runs at full height. This 2-meter regulation is why some of these rides seem shorter when compared to their certified Chinese or Western rides that they're copying. Some of these manufacturers forego this restriction entirely by simply producing rides with a fake license. As reported by state-run media, this is a common practice that allows these rides to be sold all over China as well as exported out of the country. And it's those exports that I want to focus on next. To the uninformed buyer, these rides seem like a great deal. They offer a discount of sometimes more than half off what a certified Chinese-made equivalent version of the same ride costs, with major high-thrill rides being available for under 400,000 RMB or about $55,000 US. This pricing model is very attractive to uninformed buyers, especially buyers from outside of China that may not know about the reputation of Henan province manufacturers. A simple search for family roller coaster on Alibaba turns up 12 results with Henan in the name of the manufacturer. But to really see how appealing these cheaper rides are, let's take a look at a few examples. Chinese manufacturer SBL, which has questionable quality to begin with, sells this family coaster with one ride unit for right around $1 million US. Alibaba lists this similar family coaster made in Henan province for only $330,000 US. The giant swing is a knockoff of the S&S Screamin' Swing made by SBL. From SBL, it costs around $1 million US. From a Henan province manufacturer, it costs just under $500,000 US. The price difference becomes even more dramatic when looking at smaller rides. Rides that an FEC owner, who would likely be less informed about the industry as a whole, would be prone to buying. Let's take a small pendulum ride. The Italian SBF Visa offers the Twist and Swing 120 for around $100,000 US. Meanwhile, a Henan province manufactured knockoff can be had for under $15,000. These are the kind of savings that may fool an uninformed buyer. These can have severe consequences, as not only are these rides poorly made, with the cheapest equipment possible and virtually no support from their manufacturers, but they're also very unsafe. I've covered an accident involving one of these rides already on my channel in my What Really Happened series. To learn more details about that accident, I suggest you watch that video. But that was one of many different accidents these Henan rides have caused. For example, a traveling pendulum ride made in the province detached from its supports in 2017. This sent the riders plummeting to the ground, causing serious injuries. A different Henan-made pendulum ride broke in half while inverting, generating quite the viral video and killing 2 riders. One has to wonder if the owners of these rides were aware of the dangers that these rides presented, or if they were simply conned by the Henan manufacturers. This is still an emerging issue in the amusement industry. as these Henan manufacturers have many ways of hiding their business from potential buyers. This includes changing company names. Rides all made in the same factory or factories in Henan may be sold under tens of different brand names, including but not limited to Sino Rides, Lurkey Rides, Lino Rides, Beston Rides, and several other names, many of which include the word Henan in them. Every one of these manufacturers should be avoided. All of the rides they sell are illegally produced and very, very unsafe. Many of these manufacturers have also gotten into the business of refurbishing rides and reselling them. This leads to even lower prices, especially when reselling old Henan province manufactured rides. This market exists thanks in part to the low quality of these rides to begin with. Many parks they are sold to originally do not last long, and after their closure, these manufacturers can buy their rides back for an even lower price. A used and refurbished ride from a Henan manufacturer presents even more risks than a new example due to the wear and tear already on the device. And the lack of maintenance guidance and support provided by these Henan companies doesn't help either. While many in China are aware of the risks presented by these rides, many outside of the country are not. Henan ride manufacturers have actually seen more business from countries in South America and Asia outside of China than they have inside of China in recent years. This is thanks in part to their marketing. These companies place ads for their rides on several easily accessible sites. This includes Google search ads, YouTube, and Facebook ads. This brings us full circle to the Facebook group I mentioned earlier. I found the Buy Sell China Rides group by random chance when following an ad for a Chinese ride. But on this page, there are hundreds of representatives from these Henan companies, with new listings being posted every day. The multinational group sees buyers from around the world get exposed to these rides. All too often, I witness an unexpected buyer engage with these posts, potentially ending up buying one of these death trap rides. And that ultimately is why I wanted to make this video. While Chinese knockoff rides may be funny to laugh at, as some of them are genuinely so terrible looking to those of us that know what to look for, these rides may be the only ride that someone out there has ever seen. And without context, they seem like safe ways to have fun. But unfortunately, they are anything but. Hopefully with time, more of the world becomes aware of the risks these rides present and how to spot rides of this type from this region. Until then, it's important that these manufacturers continue to be called out and reported. The Chinese government has taken some steps to curb these manufacturers, including making getting caught exporting these illegal rides a crime and charging those involved with smuggling. But this problem is far from over, and these rides continue to be produced and sold today. Thanks for watching this episode of Chinese Rides and Roller Coasters. What manufacturer or topic would you like to see covered next? We'll see you next time.